Welcome back to the Personal Process Podcast. This is season 2. We've made it far, and I'm very glad for those of you who have joined me for the ride. This episode is going to hopefully be interesting and inspiring for many of you. So, let's get down to business. First of all, it's called the Personal Process Podcast, and I think everyone in their life, as they age, as they grow, they have gone through a process, maybe losing their vitality, maybe losing their youth. And in many cases, our life has changed. Our life changes maybe for the better, and in some cases, maybe for the worst. But this change can be very cumbersome for a lot of individuals to really own. You know, when I was a kid, I had a very bad case of acne. Now, this acne wasn't just, a couple of zits. This was acne that would cover my back to the point of pain. It would be hard for me to sleep. Needless to say, confidence wasn't enough to eradicate the fear of what people would think of me at this time. It didn't make me feel good, as a younger kid, before my teens and puberty hit, I had nice skin. Didn't have to worry about it. I took it for granted. But things changed. Now, that acne, although causing a little bit of discomfort and possibly a little bit of anxiety, didn't really do much else other than that. It didn't harm my health. It didn't make me lose more opportunities than I otherwise would have. But unfortunately, I chose to do an option that I regret to this day. Now, you have to understand that this option didn't come out of a week. This is years on years, and my case of acne was very severe. I wanted to stop. I felt self-conscious going to the pool, taking off my shirt, and going to the beach. When you're in your teenage years, a lot of your friends want to go to the beach, play volleyball. And I never wanted to do that because I was embarrassed. I felt that I didn't fit in. So because of all of these reasons, coupled with the teenage mindset of you need to get everything perfect and I have to really care about what other people think of me higher than my own value for life, I decided to take some medication for it. First, it was topical creams, the ones that you saw on TV back in the day. Hopefully, I'm not that old. That saying that is something that doesn't even make sense anymore. But assuming that you are on an age where you've seen TV advertisements, there used to be some, I don't remember the name of the brand, but some TV advertisements where you just put a little bit of a dab onto your acne, and it's a topical cream, and it would work like that. Now, I've tried that. And I've tried some oral medications that is more global, and nothing that was kind of mild to medium really worked. At that point, I decided to take a more severe drug for acne. For the purpose of this video, I will leave the name out of it, but this drug had a lot of side effects, which led into a cascade of things that really harmed me. Now, the normal side effects are, and I'm not saying that I've done this or I've had these, but suicidal ideation, depression, loneliness, and some other things that are a result of this drug. Now, the outcomes do work. I've lost the majority of my acne, although I do still get some. And because of that, it's been a little bit worth it at the time when I was a child. But looking back now, after all these years, and seeing the damage it's done, I would never go back. Now, one thing that I personally had, and I can't conclusively say it was a result of this medication, was a hit to my ability to deal with challenges, adversity, and even sometimes social pressure. Now, although I've adapted my confidence based on the experiences and the plethora of connections I've made in my life, at times I still do get a little bit nervous, especially in a stressful situation. Granted, a lot of situations, especially stressful, I'm able to persevere through, conquer, and come out clean. But there are some times where even I feel paralyzed. I feel that I can't pursue it. Or maybe my friend's making a little poke at me, and I can take a lot of pokes and jabs, in good fun. But sometimes, it gets to the point where it's been enough. And this is coming from someone where I would laugh at myself harder than anyone could make jabs at me. So my point being is it has inhibited my ability to it has inhibited my tenacity. Now, with that said, my current level is still way above average, but compared to what I was before, can't compare. Now, beyond this, there's some other things not so important. But anywho, I did this, and one of the other side effects, and this one I do want to go into, apologies, is an accelerated hair loss paradigm. Now, when I took this medication, I believe I was in the 10th grade. I was around 16 years old. And as you can imagine, as a 16-year-old, you're trying to look good. You're trying to, fit in. And you don't want to be that person who has a bunch of acne on their face. Now, in hindsight, I realized that wasn't so important, and I should have dealt with it in a more holistic manner than medication off the gate. Well, granted, it was still a time. Anyways, so this accelerated hair loss actually started my balding progression. And in the 10th grade, maybe I'll be able to find some pictures to show you, but I was getting bald at the 10th grade. Obviously, balding is a bit more permanent than acne. Now, this caused a lot more anxiety for me because I'm thinking that, wow, I may actually be bald before I graduate university. Now, this caused another problem. This problem wasn't going to be fixed with a topical cream. So there were a plethora of options, and a lot of the men's communities have probably already talked about this, but there is something called Minoxidil, which is a topical cream that you can put on, or it is kind of like a liquid little, a liquid solution that you can drop onto your head. Did that for a little bit, felt a bit weird, and I decided to stop. As the years go by, I get recommended to try something called Finasteride, and in my medication, I believe it was called Proscar. Now, Proscar, the main thing that it does is it blocks the conversion of testosterone to DHT, which I think stands for dihydrotestosterone. I'm pretty sure on the testosterone thing, but if there is an incorrect mechanism that I just described here, I will leave it in the description below. Now, the reason this is important is it essentially elongates the time for your hair to thin. So it will still keep your hair follicles, so the hair, each individual one, nice and thick. And because of that, it will have a more full head of hair. Now, that came with some issues as well, and I'm not going to get into them today. But eventually, this caused me into a dependence on this drug. Now, recently, I've stopped taking this medication because there are some side effects that if you do Google, I'm sure you'll be able to find out. But it wasn't something that I wanted to do, and I felt like it was a crutch. And in addition to this just became part of a habit in my life that I didn't even realize why I was taking it. Because of this, it led to a lot of issues, and due to that, I decided to stop. Now, after stopping, as you can imagine, the hair fibers thinned because there was no more of this medication in my system. Due to that, it got me a little bit worried. I revisited my days when I was younger, and at this point, there are enough hair follicles on my head so I can kind of go out, but there are a lot of bald spots as well. And, it's been a little bit hard to grasp. I've kind of accepted that I'm balding right now, but to me personally, I feel that holding on to hair right now is denying my path forward in my own personal process. And, this podcast is all about trusting your journey in life, the ups and downs and everything in between, and coming through it at a fruitful time, enjoying everything in between. And what I want to share with you today is an experience that hopefully sets a good tone for this podcast, which is me accepting my personal process in life, me accepting my baldness. And actually, I'm going to be shaving my head right now on camera. So for listeners on the podcast, if you would like to check this out and maybe see a bit more of what my hair looks like at this time, go on the YouTube link. It's in the description. And for those on YouTube, enjoy. Perfect. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be showing you how my hair looks. And we're going to be shaving off my hair. So let's get in here. So today, funny enough, I'm having a little bit of a good hair day, but I'm just going to move around the hair so you can see. There are some balding spots, right? Oh, you might have not even been able to see that one. Let's see if we can move this here so I can see. So, as you can see, there are some balding spots at the tips. Obviously, the sides have some. And it's nothing that's, I could live with this. But, today is actually feeling like a pretty good hair day. But point being is that I am balding, as you can see. And it's something that comes on my mind. I want to be able to accept it and own it. I don't want to have to rely on a medication. I want to feel content, just for me. And the reason that is because I feel that when you're content with your own decisions without the need of a crutch, that's where true confidence comes from. That's where true happiness comes from. And I just want this to be an experience that we share together, that you can see my own growth. And yeah, so we'll do a last minute little take again. So as you can see, some of it, but there is some balding, okay, just picking up on the camera. Thought the camera was making me look good. But anyways, let's get back to the haircut. Okay, so we're gonna do the haircut right now. Enjoy, and just remember, whatever circumstances you're in, if you have an ability to change something, you can do it. You can get through it. And hopefully I don't look too funny. I have shaved my head off before. Well, the hair on my head. And I did come back from it. But this time when I do, I'm gonna own it. Welcome to my personal process, and thanks for being a part of it. Okay, let's check out a quick preview. Oh geez, yeah. So I probably need a mirror to finish this up. We'll check back when I finish up, and we'll see how it looks. That's kind of funny though. Cheers. Awesome, all done. And we're smooth like butter on top. Probably worth to get a little bit of a nice tan up top, but all done. Thank you for coming to my personal process. And for those of you who have watched the Personal Process Podcast before, thank you for joining in. And to those of you who are just joining in on your first episode, welcome to the Personal Process Podcast, the show where we go through the ups, downs, and everything in between. Thank you for joining my journey today, and I hope the future episodes can include a part of yours. Parham signing off. Have a blessed day. Cheers.